Welcome back to the Balance Beam. I'm your host, Naketa Thigpen, and of course, as always, I'm excited to be here. Today, I'm bringing you a rejuvenation, refresh, did I say that wrong? Refueled energy burst, all wrapped up in the package of love. Today, we have Ashley Coleman, an author, a writer, blogger, speaker, workshop trainer. She is all things amazing. Ashley Coleman, welcome to the Balance Beam.
Thank you. Hey, Naketa. I'm glad to be here.
I'm super glad to have you. Typically, we always have really awesome, incredible experts that are well over 30 years old. I'll say that much. As I am as well. So I'm dating myself a little bit. But when I met you a few months ago at an author series at the Parent Club in Philadelphia, you just took my breath away. Everything about you said, this is an it girl. She has a story, she has spice, she is bold, and she clearly is ready to be unleashed. So I knew I had to have you on the Balance Beam, and I'm glad that you're here.
Well, thank you. I don't mind waving the banner listen, I'm just teetering under 30, so I'm getting there pretty soon. So I'm really, really glad to be here. And I felt the same way when I met you. Loved your energy.
Oh, thank you. I think, light attracts light. So
yes, absolutely.
I think we did good with that. So, of course, in addition to the way you speak and what you speak about, you had a really nice flavor with you beyond your aesthetic and how you dress. Your image was always just like captivating. But the way you had your table set up with all of your books and your t-shirts and all the things you've done really captured me because you had clearly paid attention to the detail of what your audience needs. And all things that you do are about love. So tell all the Balance Beamers who have not had the privilege to meet you a little bit about you.
Oh, sure. So, I'm a writer and a blogger. I'm a Philly girl, so I am from Philadelphia. Just born and raised, and I'm a graduate of Temple University. Got my BA in broadcast and telecommunications and mass media. I kind of started my journey as a writer, as a songwriter, I was really interested in music. But I've always written. I love journaling, all things writing. And then after school, after forging some things in the music industry, I kind of said, I don't really know if this is what I want to write. And then I got into blogging because at the time, I graduated school in 2008. Mm-hmm. At the time, blogging was really, really, kind of taking off. So I opened my first blog spot. And then just started writing about my experiences in my life. And somewhere along the way, I realized that so many of us were thinking of love in the wrong way.
Yeah.
That we thought that love was something that it really isn't. It was, we think it's what we see in movies, we think it's what we see on TV shows, but we kind of don't realize all the work that goes into it. And so that kind of became the crux of why I wanted to talk to people about love and just kind of make them rethink it and change their minds about it. So.
Oh, you mean love isn't a fairy tale?
Right. It's not a fairy tale. And I love romantic movies with the best of them. I'm a sucker for them. I will cry. I love watching them. But I'm this is so not real.
On every level. I mean, you're bringing truth to something that's been such a myth. The people that are in it get it. The people who are not or are seeking it, trying to fill a void for whatever reason, I think they miss the point that you discover love first with yourself. When you realize that you are worthy of love is when you can really commit to loving someone else wholly.
For sure. Absolutely. That's my main thing. It's just teaching people how to love themselves and then be able to facilitate that love all across the board. And not just romantic relationships, but with our friends, with our family, and even with strangers. I always like to throw that in there because sometimes, especially being from Philly, we can be so, standoffish to strangers. And what would happen if we really just kind of, showed them that love? So it's a big thing for me.
No, me too. My life slogan is I love you to life. And I mean that,
Absolutely.
like that's really important. And unless you give me a reason not to love you, and it can't be something small and petty, but you're hurting a child, you're doing something, really that will make me want to, how do I say this nicely, chastise you, but also still love you through it, which may mean removing myself from the situation so that you can get help while you are being loved through prayer from afar in a different way, depending on what the situation is. But I don't think any of us think like that, especially people on the East Coast, people in general, but East Coasters, and I'm speaking as a Philly girl, we can be really special. Most people meet me and like, you're so sweet, you're so nice. You can't be from Philly. I'm like, oh, that's just because you haven't brought Philly out of me. That's really all that is.
Right, for sure.
Tell everyone about Dear Love.
Dear Love is my little baby. It's my first book that I've ever written. It's self-published. It all kind of started as my love letters to God on Instagram. I was posting them every morning, and people just started tuning in, man. And there's a certain thing about authenticity that I think people really just hold on to. And so these letters, they all started, Dear Love, whatever I was feeling that day about just how God's love has changed me so immensely.
Yeah.
And as it started picking up steam, somebody just said to me one day, I would love to have these like all together. I would love to keep these. And so I took that into consideration. I thought to myself, okay, how can I put these together? And at first I was trying to put together this really like memento type book, like journal that was a keepsake. But yeah, it was so expensive to create. And so the first thing I created was this little simple booklet. And my fiance, Dan, said to me, I don't think this is it. I don't think this is, really giving it justice. Mm-hmm. And so then we kind of revisited it and added more content, collected the love notes together that we thought resonated the most. And then had a cover designed, and then I found out about Create Space, yes, which is like a godsend to mm-hmm. self-published authors. And I was able to upload all my materials through there and create my first book. And I got it, and I wanted to cry because I looked at it. I'm just thinking like, oh, my name in print, my name on a cover, like this is amazing. And just being able to kind of share something, a piece of me with my following was great. And so we released the book actually in March of 2014.
Okay.
To a sold out crowd because I hosted a release event, at New Century Trust mm-hmm. downtown at 13th and Locust, which is actually, a historic building. Yeah. And they have a program that actually helps women organizations that help women. So it was an amazing event. It was packed. I was recently looking at pictures from the event, and I was thinking, wow, like, I didn't even realize that many people were there because I was probably floating, mm-hmm. and not really in tune to everyone that was there. And we sold out of books. And so for the last year and some change, that's what it's been all about, mm-hmm. is like just, trying to further the reach of that. And it's been a really, really awesome ride that I never thought I would particularly be on, but it's funny how life works.
On every level. I mean, clearly you were designed for this. It might have started attached to music, which it may, resurface and circle back to that. You have no idea what the universe has waiting for you based on what you attract and what you put out there and what's a part of your story. But I'd like to just highlight a couple of things that you said, Ashley, with being simple, being detailed and loving and caring, even in what you put out there in terms of your first book, but not having to do things in a really overly complex way, especially to share your story. And although the super, super simple version wasn't quite showing the elements of the purity that you have poured into the book, which is why you're matched with Dan, and Dan was able to give you some balanced feedback, and that pun was intended for the balance beamers listening, but he was able to give you that to really make sure that you weren't hiding by trying to be so simple and not being audacious and showing the boldness that is so clearly a part of you. When I speak boldness, I'm saying love and courageousness and being aware of others and really caring about them. and the way you present yourself through your mouth and your thoughts and everything else. And he was able to help kind of pull you to that place, because we as women, we kind of hide back into the super simple, or seemingly simple, but it's really not our truth, or we'll pose and posture behind red bottoms and $1,000 pocketbooks and things that have absolutely nothing to do with our truth, although they are awesome and beautiful and go really well with a little black dress. Although they can, be really great points, we often hide behind those things too. It's kind of one continuum to another, unless you have someone like your Dan, your other dear love, who happens to be in a space to say, no, babe, you're not being your best self right here. So let me help give you my strength so you can borrow from it and, pull you along a little bit. So I'm sure you helped challenge him to greatness as well. So I'm glad that you have a good match. And I had the opportunity to meet him, and he is really handsome and a really incredible person. So
yeah, absolutely. And sometimes just that fear, the fear of stepping out, and the fear of, if you do this really simple thing, then it's kind of like, no one will notice, we'll just put it out, and absolutely, when you say boldness, it takes a boldness to want to share, especially when you talk about writing, when you talk about feelings, emotions, those types of things. It's a really vulnerable place to be in, but I love it, and I'm glad, I wouldn't have it any other way now, but just getting over that initial hump of fear is, always a challenge.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of what makes us us. If you played easy and stayed small all the time and everything, you would constantly be fluctuating with where do I go? What do I do? And it might pour out into damaging relationships, pushing away the Dans of the world because you weren't ready for him. And not to say that you didn't, go through some of that, as we all do. I was in a relationship with my husband since 17. So I totally understand that when you're growing with someone, they're catching all the roughest parts of you. As well as the passion, and sometimes that passion and the rough edge, it can be amazing at certain times, but it could also be really destructive. And you had an outlet through your creative element, writing and sharing and just finding your way and listening. You didn't have to listen to those Instagram followers and those people when they said, I want this as a collective. You could have said, no, just, I'll repost it for you. Okay, you could have done some other, hiding thing that you would default to, but you listened to what the universe was literally giving you, because God put a formula in the universe for us to use. We don't praise the universe, we praise him, but he put it there for a reason if we listen. And I'm glad that you did that, because I would not have met you had you not wrote Dear Love and was a featured speaker at the author series in Philly and all those things. So all those things are connected, and I'm really grateful that you were a part of my process and my journey.
Well, thank you. Me too. Absolutely.
So how are you handling all this stuff? Like, I know you're doing workshops from here to DC and helping other writers, and in addition to keynotes and sharing your story, and obviously doing book signings, like you're doing a lot for under 30. So how are you doing that as a, what do we call you now, a millennial? How are you doing that?
Right. I think the term is like early mornings and late nights, right? That's kind of how it goes, because I do have full-time work, so I have a 9 to 6 job. I work at the Recording Academy Philadelphia chapter, which is, organization for music professionals, and then I have my passions, so I get up early, literally. I try to at least write for about an hour and a half every morning. In addition to just prayer and meditation and just kind of getting my day started. There was a certain point, a few months ago where I was kind of all over the place in the mornings, and so my day was going all over the place. And so I said, let me reel this in and really get my morning routine together. And that involved getting up a little earlier than normal. To give myself that quiet time, again, to just pray, meditate, and really get some writing done. I normally answer like personal emails in the morning, take care of, comments on my blog, all that type of stuff in the early morning. Then I work from about 9 to 6. I do certain things on my lunch break, utilize that time to get things done. And then I'm done at 6 o'clock. And after 6, I'm, probably trying to figure out some dinner, and getting right back to it. Because it's easy when you love stuff that you're doing, so it doesn't feel like you work, 20-hour days, because you love what you're doing. And so all the planning for events, writers workshops, posting, actually, formatting my blogs to post and everything, all that normally tends to happen after 6 p.m. And I have great family and friends. That's part of how it really works. So even showcasing annual events in DC, as a part of my BBB series, online community and event series, the family goes. The family is there. We're packing up 2 cars and traveling down and setting up and promoting. And so that's kind of really what helps make it work as well.
Well, it sounds like you've leveraged all of your family resources in addition to your professional contacts and resources as a way to make sure that you succeed. And I think that speaks true to a lot of people, places, and things that want to be better, that want to balance, that want to do things, is you have to take the opportunity that you have put in place with building strong relationships of supportive people who have your best intentions at heart, who are willing to partner with you in your journey in whatever way that they can contribute. Someone that came with you may not ride with you all the way, right? They might have started in a car from Philly to DC and got off at DC because going to California was just too much for their other obligations and their journey. But it doesn't mean that they're not with you throughout your whole process in terms of loving you to your greatness. This is just the part that they played in it for that moment. For the family who can come to, certain BBC series or kind of local events or even some of the distance ones, it doesn't mean that they're not as excited about your opportunities when you have to fly to Italy and do something else. They're like, yes, girl, go do that. Call me when you get off the plane. I'm not doing that. That's right. And I think it's awesome that you've allowed yourself to create a plan that involves partners who are your relationship builders, your supporters. Some are blood, some are non-blood. And you really are keeping your circle tight enough around you to keep you in check too. If you feel like, that balloon is getting a little inflated because of all the awesome things that are being said and stated, I think it keeps you grounded a little bit when you do that. So I commend you for that.
Thank you. And absolutely. I mean, I'm still so far in the grind and in the, the gristle of it all to, that's nowhere near an issue currently. But I get, especially with some of my work being around the music industry, I'm in the entertainment business. It happens all the time, that the people who are best off have those strong people from their family around them, and kind of just surrounding them. And so I'm super thankful for that. And then even the professional relationships, a lot of them become like family, so it's just a process that continues and revolves and, just works out. So.
Absolutely. I mean, you know how God works, Ashley. You can go from 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. So you can feel like I'm in such the thick of the grind right now. Like, Naketa, you have no idea what I'm doing to promote an event. And you get that one phone call, that one opportunity, being on that one podcast, leveraging someone else's couch, so to speak. And you just explode. And you're still trying to figure out, 2 days ago, I was just trying to figure out how to pay the electric bill. Like, what happened? Like, you don't know, because he is a God of impossibilities, of how amazing your life can be when you say yes completely and you just pay attention to what you have to do along the way and listen for cues to go left, go right, pause, back up, drive faster, whatever the case is. And it sounds like you're doing that. But when you're in your go through to, get to the next level, it does feel a little sticky at times, but you're creating the right foundation around you to make sure that you can handle that explosion, because it is coming. I can tell you that. It is coming. I felt it when I met you, so I know it's around the corner. I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited as well, for sure. I just, you have a vision and you see things and, they haven't yet manifested, but you continue to see it. And so that's what I'm really looking forward to, just knowing, holding steadfast onto God's promises for his people and for his children. And so I'm looking forward to all that. I want it all. I want all he has to offer me.
I know that's right. You're like, there is no shyness here. Give me mine. I'm not mad at that. So what about with you, because you told me a great idea of how you balance your mornings to kind of set the tone for your day, and you've even been on the other side of seeing how not setting the tone appropriately can kind of have you straggling along for the day. What about when you're in flow mode, maybe you're writing, and then you're getting distracted with, there are people who are calling you for interviews, for attention, to set up things, maybe people responding to workshop event reminders with questions or things. How do you refocus yourself in the midst of all that, especially as a creative? Because once your flow gets broken, it could be a little sticky to pull it back. So what do you do?
Oh, absolutely. So lately, because I tend to work all over the place, and it does kind of, just completely disrupt your flow. So most recently, I've been working on being able to, make to-day list as, one person that I work with entitles it. So no longer to-do list, but to-day list. Awesome. Because to-do lists can often get very overwhelming. And so, for instance, if I have a specific event coming up, knowing that, features for the blog or inquiries about the blog will have to wait until next week. Whatever is most pressing, being able to prioritize is key, because everything can feel important, especially in this day and age. There's notifications on your phones, there's emails popping up, there's, a tweet from someone, but, so you just kind of have to be able to prioritize and say, I'm not going to do this right now, and really kind of like planning out your week to say this day and that day and this day is when, this is going to happen. So that continues to be key, and really taking advantage of that quiet time. Honestly, is most important, because getting up early is when you have way less distractions.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you. You have more control over your morning. For most people, assuming you don't work at the opposite end of the day where it might feel completely backwards, you really do have more control. And if you push things off to the evening, when you say, and I've had people say, because I will ask them when I coach them, what's your take over the time? What's your take over the world time of the day? Your energy is the highest and you're the most focused, or you can turn on that focus switch and really zone into something. And for the people who really do turn on in the evening, they'll say that's when they prefer to, work out or write or do different things. In some instances, that makes sense. But if they're juggling a 9 to 6 job plus travel, sometimes with other obligations, taking care of parents, children, pets, whatever the case is, or just other obligations, even though their energy would technically be higher in the evening, they're drained. They also had life happen during the day. They got an extra phone call. They had to go pick up something. Somebody forgot the dry cleaning. Something happened that they couldn't control, that they couldn't avoid even, and now they don't have that time to sit and write if they're a writer, or create or design or sing or whatever the case is. But if you got up extra in the morning and kind of retrained your body clock, which you can do with practice and time and certain routines, they would have that extra 20 minutes. That's all you need to really kind of reset yourself, is an extra 20 minutes. If you know the difference, I'm glad you brought up prioritizing, because there is a difference between what's urgent and what's important. And Alex Mendozian, who's a phenomenal coach, he talks about that all the time. The things that are urgent are those things that probably were important, but you let them build up to become urgent. So you have to take care of the things in a certain order. So there is no such thing as urgent outside of a true, fire, a true emergency, the birth of a child, something that the world is not going to stop for because you have another priority in front of it. That baby is coming. But, other than that, and sometimes the baby's not physical, it could be a figurative baby with your business or an opportunity that you cannot afford to miss. But really making sure you have what you feel fuels you as a priority. So if you know that you need time to write because you're a writer, that has to be etched into your morning, because you don't know what your day is going to be like, especially in the music industry. I don't even know how you do it, because I have a sister who sings and she's phenomenal, wonderful, creative, beautiful, energetic spirit, but her time zone is over the top. I can't keep up with coming in at 4:00 in the morning from the studio, and her energy is like, whoa. And I'm like, yo, bring it down. So I don't know how you even deal with that on a regular 9 to 6 basis. I commend you for that too.
Thank you.
Awesome. So what about reconnection time with Dan? I'm just going to pick on him a little bit because I know he's back there lurking. I know he wants some camera time, so he can jump in and give you a kiss on camera. I'm not mad at that. But how do you take time to reconnect with him? You have such a full day with literally juggling everything.
So, too funny. So, I feel like this topic has come up a lot recently, from like seeing different posts on social media to like just in my own thought process. And honestly, it is tough. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, it is a tough thing to do, to be able to, go full steam ahead for your career, and also just, really nurture your relationship, because they need it, we need it, I need it, he needs it, that time. And so sometimes it really just comes down to closing the laptop, like sometimes I will be in the middle of working and he's asking me one too many questions, and I know that means that he's ready for me to give him some attention. And so, I'm in a place where I'm open to compromising. I'm open to the fact that, if it's something, pressing, a priority, that I can say, okay, give me 20 minutes to finish this.
Yeah.
Or if it's not a pressing thing, where I can say, I can finish this tomorrow and close the laptop and just get to work. And so we pretty much try to do like no official date night, but like a date type thing every week. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there just comes a point in the week where we're like, okay, you want to go on a date, and it's the movies, or, going down to the harbor, or, whatever it is, and just really continuing to make that a priority. But it comes with a lot of compromise. You can't be selfish in it. You can't constantly be thinking, but I want to write this, or I want to, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, because at the end of the day, all the things that I want to achieve, I don't want to achieve them alone. And it's really important to me to have someone to share that with.
Absolutely. On every level. And it also makes you feel more whole. Right? When you're writing about love, I know you got a lot of love up in there that has to go somewhere. And in some ways it can obviously pour through your creative vision, your oozing self of writing down and blogging and sharing. But then there's a tangible place you want it to go to, which is to the love of your life, the person that helps meet you and where you're trying to go. So I think that that's beautiful, that you're at least trying to be aware that reconnection time is important, and you recognize that flexibility is just what your life calls for. There may not be, as you said, Wednesday at 7 every night, every week, this is what we're going to do. And now I have an attitude that we couldn't do Wednesday at 7 because, of his work schedule, your work schedule, or your entrepreneur self schedule. And you're just saying, we know when the thermometer, did I say that right? Thermometer is coming to a place where it's getting low, it's getting a little cold and frigid in there, and you need to warm things back up with some time. So that sounds good that you're doing that. What are you doing to rest for yourself though? Because you have your writing time, your prayer time, which is refueling you. You obviously are working, so you're sharing your skills with people. You're doing a lot, and you're obviously making time for Dan. But what are you doing for yourself?
So I'm trying to incorporate more time for that. But sometimes it's like the simple things. Like I like to go to the nail salon I feel like a lot of women can relate to just going to the nail salon, getting a pedicure, getting a manicure, and that just being like complete time to zone out and just do what you want to do. I also try to make time to like watch TV. The TV is not on much in the house at all, but like sometimes if I'm just like, you know what, I want to kick back, I'll turn on the TV for a couple hours. I'll watch, an old movie or reruns of Martin or, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then just trying to make sure to take, a real life vacation every year. Sometimes it's multiple trips, but at least one thing every year to really just get away. Or make a long weekend out of, something. My birthday passed a few months ago, and we went to Atlantic City. Nowhere far, but just, that you can go, just get away from your regular, the fact that you need to take out the trash or wash the dishes or whatever it is. Sometimes you just need that time. So I'm trying to get better at incorporating more time into my schedule that's just for me. But those are a few of the things that I do try to do because I know the importance of it. Burnout is too real.
Right.
And so we have to have that balance, pun intended.
Absolutely sure. Right. It's all right because I'm going to scoop you up for the next permission to pause. That's all. We're going to make sure we grab you. I know we had conflicting schedules with the last one last June, I think it was, but we're definitely going to scoop you up for the next one because you need it. You're an awesome woman doing amazing and incredible things, and you need to be rewarded, even if it's 10 minutes at a time, which permission to pause is longer than that. It's 90 whole minutes. But I want to make sure that I can help you take care of yourself so that you can continue to be great. I can get free tickets to your event. Hello. Selfish plug. But I want to make sure that in all seriousness that someone who is working her behind off to impact the world with greater things, and there is no greater thing than love, has an opportunity to literally, pun intended, permit themselves to pause. So we're definitely going to make sure we scoop you for the next one for that.
Absolutely, I'm there. Yeah, so I wanted to be there so bad, but I know there was like you mentioned, a scheduling conflict, but definitely the next one.
It's all right. I'm gonna go through Dan next time. That's all. I'm gonna be like, no. Tell her booking agent she cannot do this date, okay? October 7th. She cannot do that. Write it down. No. It's all right. I know what to do for you. I know exactly how to handle that. So what do you want to tell Balance Beamers about a good place to go, stay, play, or relax the next time they need literally an opportunity to just kind of bring it down and breathe a little bit?
Honestly, I feel like it's easy to say a hotel room anywhere near you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, it doesn't even have to be a far trip. For instance, I went to Texas earlier in the year, following along behind Dan. He had a gig in Texas, and I just tagged along just to be in a hotel room. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, as I talked about a little bit earlier, just something about that being away from your normal environment, taking that opportunity to just be there. You don't have much going on, but what you can bring, whether it's a good book, that's what I did. Choose Yourself by James Altucher was a great book, a great way to zone out and cool out, and I took that with me. So a hotel room near you, even if it's in your same city, just go get the nicest room, get the penthouse, and just zone out for a day or two is definitely a way to cool out.
I love that. It was a while ago when I was able to do it just because of balancing all the things I did. But my husband had a work trip in Denver, and I sure enough jumped in that suitcase. That's what I call it. Like, you do whatever you want. He was like, babe, I'm going to be working 16-hour days. I was like, I'll miss you. It's okay. And that's exactly what it was. It was just time to breathe and enjoy me during the day. And of course, I had some moments when I wish we could have played a little bit more, but I really enjoyed just being away from the routine. To your point about the house and the chores, and in my case, my kids are 18 and 14, so just all the things that go with teenagers and all of that awesomeness that happens. But it can run its course after a while, and you just need to, back away from it for a minute. So I think that's a great recommendation. Tell everyone how they can follow up with you, Ashley. So where can they go to meet you?
Absolutely. I am social media queen of the world. No, kidding. But I love social media. So I'm on everything. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Everything is Right Laugh Dream. Everything is spelled correctly. WRITELAUGHDREAM. So that's everything. Twitter, Facebook, Right Laugh Dream. And then you can also go to rightlaughDream.com where everything is. It's the central place to just keep up with what I'm doing.
Can you say branded? Like the girl is branded. Everything. RightlaughDream.com. We will make sure we put that everywhere when this comes out. I am so grateful and humbled by the opportunity to be in the presence of another awesome woman who is not afraid of herself and to be unleashed. So I'm grateful that you walked into your boldness, Ashley, especially at such a young age, to be able to step in that without waiting to your 40s or 50s. Although whenever it comes, it comes. But I'm really grateful to hear that, because you'll have more time prayerfully to impact the world in bigger and deeper ways. So thank you for being on the Balance Beam. You stay right there. Balance Beamers, you know what to do. Stay tuned, because we have more tools for you to infuse. Welcome back to another empowerment moment just for you. I want to take a moment and really have you reflect on something. We all are inspired and aspire to be like people that typically inspire us, right? Well, sometimes that gets us into this place of competing, especially if we are inspired by someone we aspire to be like. And in that, we see ourselves building and molding different realms of ourselves to simulate the best parts of that person. Well, I have news for you. You don't compete with anyone but you. And you compare yourself with the next level of you. Where you're going is who you're trying to become. That's what you compare. What do I look like now? Where do I want to go later? And how can I get there? What's different about my process now? My systems, my mindset, my thinking, my relationships, my support circle. What needs to change so I can get to the next level of myself? Not comparing to those other amazing, incredible people that inspire me. Not comparing myself to people who may not necessarily be on that level, and now I find myself feeling entitled to propel myself above them. The levels are not about getting ahead of other people. They're literally about challenging yourself to your next level of greatness. You have to go to where you want to become, but you'll never get there if you're comparing yourself to anyone else but you. I hope you enjoyed this empowerment moment.